What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some things that slower wide receivers must do in order to be successful. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want to improve your speed, you want to become a more explosive athlete, get quicker, check out that very first link in the description below for our 16-week wide receiver gym workout plan. What we give you is a 4-month daily schedule to follow with the exact exercises, with sets, reps, and examples of each exercise to follow on a day-to-day basis to help your wide receiver skills and athleticism improve. So check out that very first link in the description below if you're interested, fellas. Let's get started with this video. So now, first thing, that slower guys, right? Now, so we're looking at a route here from Allen Robinson. Now, Allen Robinson was deemed one of the slower wide receivers of his draft class because he ran a 4.6 40-yard dash. Now, I don't put a whole lot of weight on the 40-yard dash. I think the 40-yard dash is very technical, right? The first 10 yards, your start, so many different factors play into it, and he may have just had a bad start, and that's why he timed low. But 4.6 in the NFL is honestly pretty slow. For the NFL, right? In high school, that's fast. In college, that's probably normal speed. But in the NFL, you're going up against DBs every single play who run 4.4s and 4.3s, especially nowadays. DBs who are faster than us, right? So when he's running this route, he's going to be coming up, doing a crossover move, and then running a slant. Now, why is this play important for slower guys? Because it shows the details in your press releases. So when we get a DB to miss, right? I think it's pretty easy if you know what you're doing and you know how to do it to get a DB to move off his platform, right? Robinson is closing the space with this DB. He throws a crossover move. He steps outside the frame. He sells with his hips, sells with his shoulders. All of those things are going to get a DB to move off that platform. Now, where slower guys get killed is because they'll do that. They'll get the DB to move. They'll sell the route, but then they lose speed out of the break, and they don't have enough natural speed, I guess you can say, to make up for their lack of technique and their lack of acceleration out of the break. So anytime that you guys make a cut off a line or release, you should be trying to push off of the middle arch of that foot, because that push helps that explosion that you generated from your release and turn that explosion into acceleration. Now, how does that apply? Is that like a general concept? Is that just for this release? It's a general concept. You come off the ball, and let's say maybe, for example, like we do this cross, right? We do inside move, outside move. With his left foot, he should be striking the ground with his toes forward, weight distributed on that like ball middle arch of his foot. So when he decides to make that cut, he gets separation, but because he pushes off of that cut, and you see how he opens up with his inside step, that push and that opening of his hips helps him maintain that speed and explosion to widen the gap from the DB. Those little details, fellas, especially when you're on the slower side of things, matter a ton. Because if we just came off this release, did a move, and then stood up and looked for the ball, because this DB is faster than us, he's going to be able to recover. That's the same thing on any route. Top of the route, like let's say, for example, you're running a post route, and let's say you're making just a single cut on a post. It's the same idea. You want that weight distributed on that ball, middle arch of your foot when you make that post. We try to get the DB to bite, get him off his platform, and drive. So when you make all of your cuts, fellas, as a slower guy, use that cut leg to push, rip those arms, open up those hips, and get in and out of that break. Those little details have to make up for it, because if you have a lack of speed, you got to make up for it with something, right? If you have a lack of speed, you either got to make up with it for size, so you got to be a bigger wide receiver, a physical wide receiver, and if you maybe don't, if you're not the biggest guy in the world, but you're also not the fastest guy in the world, your route running details is the only thing that you have that's going to separate you from the competition. So let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Robinson hitting that crossover and then generating speed out of the break. So this next example here is going to be an out and up. Now, I think with this out and up, remember, like we said, a deep threat, you know, like Allen Robinson probably isn't that like deemed as that in the NFL. I want to make that clear, because again, he's probably faster than a lot of us watching this video. A lot of us who watch games on Sundays, he's a great athlete. He's playing in the NFL. When you see an NFL athlete in person, it is so noticeable why those guys are there. They are insane athletes. But again, a difference between a 4.6 and a 4.3 or a 4.4 is a lot in a scout's eyes. That's why he was deemed as a slower wide receiver. Same thing with Cooper Kupp. Everybody loves Cooper Kupp. Everybody loves the way he runs routes. He was deemed as a slower guy. Jarvis Landry. All three of those guys have success, right? All three of those guys have had success in the league. But what do? And they emphasize the details, right? So this is an out and up. This is probably not the route. Like if I'm an offensive coordinator and let's say I got a fast wide, like Tyreek Hill type wide receiver, and I got Allen Robinson, I'm probably not going to call it with Allen Robinson. I'm probably going to call it Tyreek Hill because he's a faster guy. He's more of a deep threat downfield. But if you're that guy on your team, you're wide receiver one, but you're going up against a DB who's faster than you, and they ask you to run these routes, the details of this movement outweighs anything. So let's watch what happens here. When he breaks to this out route, we obviously get the DB to commit. Because when that DB is in man coverage, what is he supposed to be watching? He's supposed to be watching our hips. So every time on a double move, whether that's a sluggo, whether that's an out and up, whatever the move may be, people always talk about the eyes. Oh, you have to snap your head around to sell your routes. But sometimes and he gives a little bit of a glance, but he's not looking at the quarterback. What gets this DB to try to undercut this out route is the commitment with his hips and the commitment with his shoulders on the out. Now, again, you might be thinking, well, this is just for an out and up. This is for any route. Let's go back to that post example that we talked about. Like, let's say, for example, we came off the line, DB was on my hip and we had to run a post. But let's say DB was right here and I was trying to undercut. I was trying to use a throw by and slip underneath him on a post. I have to commit my hips and shoulders to the fade. Let's say I'm doing a diamond release slant where I'm trying to get him to think fade and I slip underneath. I have to commit my hips and shoulders to the fade as well. It's not just about speed. It's not just about your stride. It's also about your body language. Your body language is probably the most the most prevalent thing that sells all routes. So when you break to this out route, you see how he commits his body language. Hips and shoulders commit. That's what gets the DB guessing. That's what gets him to take the cheese, and then we could get some separation and win on that route. So fellas, the devil is in the details. If you emphasize the details of your route running, you will be a more successful wide receiver. You have to do something to stand out if you were on the slower side of things. And your route running is a great way to do it. Now, I'm going to play this full speed, then we're going to show another example of Allen Robinson doing something that you have to do if you were a slower guy. So we're looking at Allen Robinson at the top of the screen. Again, deemed a slower guy. And when you're a slower guy, you're going to be put in this situation where maybe you got a DB off the line, maybe you you got some separation, you worked him. But because he's faster than us, he has probably pretty good recovery speed. So he's able to recover, and on deeper passes downfield like fades, like skinny posts, they're going to be able to recover and get to your hip, whether the quarterback throws a good ball or not. So we have to be comfortable in that situation, and we have to be a playmaker in that situation. So let's play this full speed. So he comes off, does this diamond release slant, and then runs this fade, right? Now he goes up and makes this catch. It's almost like a back shoulder throw. Now he does a great job locating the ball, great job putting the brakes on and coming back to it, and for the most part, high pointing it, I guess you can say. In some cases, if that ball's thrown with a little more air, you definitely want to go up and high point it. Now, why am I showing you this? Because like I said, there are going to be times where DBs are going to recover on us, be on our hip, and we got to make a play. If you're sitting here and you are a slower wide receiver, deemed on the slower side, I'm not saying that you're slow, but maybe going up against DBs who are fast, your competition's fast that you go up against every snap. You got on film, because a college coach looks at your film, right? I don't care what 7-on-7 team you play for. I don't care what recruiting service you're signed up for. It's all garbage anyways when it comes to recruiting services. That's another conversation. But they cannot make up for what you have on your film. And if you're a slower guy, you have to catch everything that is thrown your way. Because you got to understand this. If I got a line of wide receivers, let's just say I know nothing about you as a player, nothing about you as a wide receiver, but all I've seen is you guys race. Let's say there's 10 wide receivers. And I'm going to probably choose for my starting lineup, without seeing anybody catch, without seeing anybody run routes, the 3 fastest guys. Because that's at the end of the day, that's the name of the game. We got to play fast as a wide receiver. So if you maybe lack that speed, you lack a step, maybe you're losing to those guys in that race by 2-3 steps, you got to make up for it somehow. A route running detail, which is the 2 examples we talked about, those little things, because the little things aren't little, and catching every pass. So when you're in that tight coverage situation, college coaches want to see this on film. Can you go up and get the ball? Can you make a back shoulder catch? Can you catch the ball in traffic? All of those things make up for that lack of speed, because they will find a place for you. I would rather have a guy who catches everything and has no separation than a guy who gets wide open and is a 50-50 guy. Because I can't rely on a 50-50 guy. I can rely on the dude who catches every pass. So in the offseason, you should be working a ton of ball drills, ton of catching drills. Every chance you get with a quarterback, go out and catch. If you got a quarterback coach in your area, especially there is no excuse. There is no excuse if you're in a big football market as to, I don't have a quarterback to throw to me. I can't get my hands better. Reach out to a quarterback coach and say, say, hey, coach, I will come out and catch for your quarterbacks. Just tell me when you need me. A quarterback coach would be an idiot to say no. And if he tries to charge you, it's a scam. So go somewhere else. There are plenty of other quarterback coaches to go around. But you got to find ways to improve your hands, because this right here is what you can do to make up for that lack of speed. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Robinson hitting him with that move. And again, being able to come back to the ball, make those plays when that DB has that good recovery speed. I know it was underthrown. I know it was back shoulder, but we got to make those plays. All right, fellas, really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. Always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like a 4-week wide receiver gym workout schedule, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.